Hello students, welcome back to the class of Computer Standard 8. We are learning about computer network. In last part, we have learned about what is meant by network, what is meant by computer network, and the different types of network we have learned over there. Now in this part, we are going to learn about the different hardware that is used to build a computer network and the architectures of the computer network. So let us move to our PPT session. Today we are going to learn about the network hardware. Now what is meant by network hardware? Network hardware is nothing but the physical component that work together to create a computer network. Now what are the different components that we are going to add to form a computer network that we are going to learn in this point. So here I have shown you the diagram components of computer network. Whenever we are going to form a computer network, we need to add a hub, switches, modem, router, cables and connectors, and network interface card. So these are the things that we require to add up over here. Now we are going to learn all these components one by one. So now let us move to our first part of network hardware, that is network operating system. Network operating system, also known as NOS. There are two types of network operating system. First is client operating system, also called as COS, which is generally installed at the client computer so that that computer will get connected in a network. And another operating system is network operating system, also called as NOS. This NOS is designed specially for the file servers or the servers in a network. Now with help of this operating system, the server computer is able to manage the resources which are available in a network. Now with help of this NOS, the server will able to share different files, resources and applications among the connected computers, and it also provide the security to the network. Second hardware is network interface card, also known as network adapter. It is a device which allows a computer to connect with a network or another network. Now, whenever we are connecting more computers with each other, how they will come to know that this address should pass to that particular computer itself. So these all the things are done with help of network interface card. So to identify the computer in a network, one address is associated with network interface card. That address is called as MAC address, which is written on a network interface card. So with help of this network interface card and the address which is associated with this NIC, the computer will identify each other and they will share the information on a network. There are two types of network interface cards. One is wired network interface card and another one is wireless network interface card. I have shown the diagram of both of these over here. This is the wired network interface card. This card is used to connect computers to a network. The data is going to be shared with help of cables in the wired network interface card. The another one is wireless network interface card, which is like this one. Now this wireless network interface card helps the computer to connect with each other with help of radio wave technology, as the name is wireless. So it doesn't require any wire to connect with another computer. Instead of that, it will use the radio wave technology. The third hardware component is cable. Generally, cables are used to connect computers and resources on a network. So, different types of cables are used depending on the type and size of the network itself. The next component is connectors. It is a device that joins two computers or networks together. It means whenever I am going to join the two different computer networks with each other, then I am going to use connectors. Otherwise, if I am going to join the two computers with each other, that time also I am going to use the connectors to connect both the computers with each other. The next component is modem. Now this device is used to convert analog signal to digital signal and digital signal to its analog equivalent. It is also called as modulator or demodulator. Remember, the long form of modem is modulator, demodulator. Okay. Now how the working of modem is there, I am going to show it with the help of this diagram. Here I have shown you one diagram over here. This is my first computer and this is my second computer. Okay. Now if I am going to send message from first computer to second computer, that time how the modem will convert the signals, that we are going to learn. Okay. So this first computer wants to send some message to the second computer. So whatever the message the user has typed on this computer gets converted into a digital signal form, which is shown over here. Okay, this is how the digital signal will be. Now this digital signal will get passed through modem and it will get converted into this kind of analog signal. Okay, now this signal is travel through a telephone line towards the destination computer or the receiver's end. Once this analog signal reaches to the receiver's end, there again one modem is getting installed. Okay, so here this analog signal gets converted into this digital signal again, and this digital signal will be read out by the CPU of the receiver's end and the message will get converted into its original form. This is how modem will work. The next component is hub. This component is used to connect various devices in a network. It transmits data or information to all the devices which are connected to the hub. So hub is a central device or the main part which actually transmits the data from one computer to another computer. It increases data traffic and slow down the speed of network. Now with hub, as it is used to transmit data, it will increase the data traffic on network, which results in slowdown of the speed of the network. Next component is switch. Switches recognize the devices for which the data has to be transferred. Means which is used to connect various devices in a network. It recognizes the devices for which the data has to be transferred and sends that particular data to that device only. It never gets delivered to another computer. Next component is bridge. This device is used to connect two similar networks. As we have seen the bridges on our roads, whenever there is a river or any depth is there, so the two portions of lands are getting connected with help of bridges. Same way here the bridges are used to connect two similar networks with each other. The next device is gateway. This is used to connect two dissimilar networks. Two dissimilar networks means if I am going to connect one LAN network with a WAN network, then I am going to use the gateway. Next component is router. It is the device that directs the data traffic in a network. Okay, generally router is used to direct the data traffic in a network. Now, whenever the data traffic is directed on a network, this router will help to find out the shortest path to travel. The work of router is to find the shortest path to get it travel from sender to receiver. Means it is finding the shortcut. Okay? Now next component is repeater. It is used to amplify signals so that it can travel greater distance. Now repeaters are generally used in a network where distance is huge. Suppose when I want to transmit data over a large distances, what happened? The signal will become weak after certain distance, traveling of certain distance. So to avoid this, repeaters are used at certain interval so that the data signal will travel a greater distance but with the same strength. So for that purpose we are using the repeater. Now the use of repeater is that it amplifies the signal so that that signal will travel to a large distance. This is about the network hardware that we have learned to form a computer network. We are going to join many of these devices to form a network. Now let us move to our next point, that is network architecture. Now what is meant by network architecture? Network architecture is a framework which shows the entire structure of computer network. Means how the computers are arranged and how different tasks are allocated in the network, that is done with help of network architecture. Now here there are two types of network architecture. Which are those? First one is peer-to-peer architecture and second one is client-server architecture. Let us see these one by one. So our first architecture is peer-to-peer architecture. Peer-to-peer architecture means, what is meant by the word peer means at equal position. Okay, we all are the friends, means friends are all are at equal position. Same as peer means subordinate. Here all the computers are at equal position. Equal position means there is no server computer and all computers are connected with each other. Now here, as all the computers are connected with each other, data is directly shared between the computers. They don't require anything to be a middle one to travel or to transmit the data. Generally, this type of network architecture is used in a small organizations, and it is also very easy to install and cost effective. As the organization is small, definitely they will go for the cost effective network. The best part of this architecture is that if any one computer gets failed, it does not affect the entire network. Now I will show you the diagram of peer-to-peer architecture over here. This is what is called as peer-to-peer architecture. Now here all the computers are at equal position, means I am connecting each and every computer with each other. Okay, here I have connected this computer, these two computers are also connected, these two are connected, these two are connected, even I connected these two computers also. Okay, means every computer is connected with each other. Now if one of these computer gets failed down, will it affect the working of network? No. So that is why this architecture is useful, where the cost and the installation matters. As it is a easy installation and cost effective, most of the organizations will go for this kind of architecture, so that if any single computer will not able to work, it will not affect the entire network which is installed there in your organization. Now moving to the next, that is client server architecture. Now this architecture is computer dependent. Now in peer-to-peer we have seen each and every computer is individual. It is individually communicating with each and every computer. But here in client server architecture, one computer will act as a server and rest all the computers are act as a client, means workstation. So whenever the data transmission will be happen here in client server architecture, I will show you the diagram over here. Here as you are able to see, this is the central computer, okay, which is called as a server, and rest all are called as the clients. So all these computers are work as a client. So whenever they want to communicate with each other, here you are able to see request by client, and this is the response which is given by the server. So whenever any computer wants to send the message, that computer needs to contact with server first, and then server is going to send the message to the next computer. So server will act as a middleman for communication. So this type of architecture will be dependent on the server. So it is controlled by a centralized computer called as server itself. So as it is dependent on a server, if server gets failed, then your network will not work. So you need to take care of your server if you want your network should work for you. But if anything happens with the client, it will not affect the network itself. Thus, in this part of computer network, we have learned about the different network hardwares and the two types of network architecture, that are peer-to-peer architecture and client-server architecture. Thank you, students.